Welcome to Literacy Skills in the Early Years, Oral Language and Vocabulary Development, presented by Fiona Roloff. I acknowledge the traditional owners of the land where we stand. I pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and future. Literacy skills in the early years. The development of literacy-related learning has become a critical focus of early education settings. Young children need to learn specific early literacy skills. Learning to read is considered the most important educational outcome. Reading is also one of the most complex processes to attain and the most widely discussed among researchers and educational practitioners. Early literacy instruction remains a lively topic even in today's educational circles, with much research into the effective teaching of reading occurring over the last 4 decades. According to Desley Concert 2006 and 2010, current research from a number of empirical studies have shown that the reading process can be segmented into 6 components, referred to as the Big Six. These include oral language or linguistic knowledge, phonological awareness, phonics, letter sound knowledge and word knowledge, vocabulary, fluency, and comprehension. Today I will be focusing on 2 of these foundation skills, oral language and vocabulary development. All 6 components are all interrelated and are all equally important components to reading instruction. Oral language. Early childhood educators know, and what the research supports, there are direct links between oral language, fluency, and later reading achievement. Oral language is a cognitive tool used to construct meaning. For young children, it is through the language that adults use that children create meaning and develop oral language. Children who are surrounded by and included in rich and increasingly complex conversations have an overwhelming advantage in vocabulary development, in understanding the structures of language, and in tuning into the sounds of the English language. The quality of the words young children hear supports and expands vocabulary, knowledge, and understanding. Conversations engage children in meaningful collaboration with others. Vocabulary contributes to reading for meaning. As for oral language, children who have a wide vocabulary are more likely to experience success in being able to read faster and more accurately. As children know the meaning of the words they are reading, they are more likely to make sense of the sentences they are reading. Vocabulary is learnt through children's exposure to new words in books, in the media, through being read to, and importantly in conversations. The context of learning these new words should be meaningful and repeated for children to add to their word bank. Vocabulary development includes both receptive and expressive vocabulary. Expressive language is a language formed through speech and writing. Receptive language relies on the language making sense through how it is heard or read, according to Gelonga and Soberlak 2011. Young children's receptive vocabulary has been estimated to be up to 4 times greater than their expressive vocabulary. Frequent shared reading leads to vocabulary growth and improved oral language, which later contributes to success in reading and other academic learning areas. What do you think may be the challenges children face with limited oral and vocabulary development? A young child experiencing literacy-rich environments is very important. When children first start to read, they rely on oral language as a starting point for word-symbol relationships and language structure. Children with limited oral language will be disadvantaged in later reading and writing achievement, as well as speaking and listening. A further challenge for children with limited oral language and early literacy experiences is the transition from home and/or early education settings to school. The formal school environment is significantly different to the home or early childhood setting in the structure and its focus on academic skill outcomes. Vocabulary development supports children's growth in literacy as well as being an important predictor of future reading ability and comprehension. Young children need to be actively engaged in conversations, learning new words repeatedly and in context, and engaged in reading aloud with an adult or older reader. The challenge children face in developing their vocabulary is the complex nature of the English language and the complexity of the words. Children with limited vocabulary may struggle accessing information with reading comprehension and in other academic subjects. Burns and Wozniak 2009 suggests that children need to learn 5 to 6 words per day, 38 words per week, and 2,000 words a year for children to become capable readers by the age of 6 years old. When implementing interventions and teaching strategies in the classroom, the educator must have supporting research-based evidence that links research with practice. This is critical if the children's needs are to be successfully met. Early language development can be seen in two contexts, through conversations and through storybook reading. The benefits of these two contexts are that children are actively engaged in developing the skills of early literacy, learning new words and their meanings in context. Conversations prompt children to become actively involved in their learning and provide opportunities to extend children's depth of word knowledge. Storybook activities are an excellent strategy to develop language and vocabulary because of the opportunities for using language in different contexts during interactive discussion. As Christ and Wang 2010 suggests, children's books generally contain a high proportion of advanced vocabulary, and children are observed to be engaged by a good book. In addition, it has been found that the most effective way of accelerating vocabulary was for the adult to elaborate on the words in the story, according to Chilonga and Soberlap 2011. Children develop vocabulary knowledge as the adult talks about the new words found in a book. Nursery rhymes. Nursery rhymes are also a valuable source of developing and expanding children's language, as these carry all the parts of language that lead to speaking and reading. How many nursery rhymes can you remember from when you were young? Could you name 10? Do you include nursery rhymes in your classroom practice? The benefit of nursery rhymes is that learning is taking place without anyone really being aware of it. Nursery rhymes stimulate children to think of new ideas, create pictures in their heads, learn new vocabulary, and enrich their imagination. Here is an example from a movie clip of Three Men and a Baby of an adult reading aloud to a child. Research has shown that there are huge benefits of adults or older readers reading to young children. The home environment is a child's first learning environment. The language used by families supports young children's development of oral language skills. Parents play a critical role in emerging literacy. Research by Kalb and Van Owers, 2012, has explored the connections between parents reading to their young children and their child's later reading and academic achievement. The key findings of the paper demonstrated that how often parents read to their children positively affected their children's educational outcomes at the age of 8 or 9. Nicholas and Snyder's 2014 research found that the enhancement of a child's home literacy environment can be possible with little cost and effort. Providing the time to educate parents of strategies such as shared reading and other everyday activities that they may be able to do at home can lead to positive language outcomes for children. Reading with children is considered a primary strategy and one that provides many valuable opportunities for children to interact verbally, experience print-based literacy, develop listening skills, and reading and writing skills. Reading storybooks develops children's cognitive skills and can be considered as one of the most important activities for developing oral language and knowledge of print-based text. Dr. Seuss stories are fun stories that supports children's oral language and expose children to rhymes, patterns, and new words. Mr. Men and Little Miss books are also a good source of fun stories that can encourage talk and build upon children's word banks. Young children are amazing word learners. Talking with young children provides learning experiences for children that are fun, interesting, and responsive. Research by Test, Cunningham and Lee, 2010, supports spoken language as the foundation for reading and writing. The authors also suggest that the conversations preschoolers have with adults help build children's brains for reading. Conversations with young children support children's ability to talk about their interests, enhances their imagination and narration of events, and builds their vocabulary word bank as they come across new words. Teachers using intentional, meaningful, new vocabulary while talking with children is another effective way to promote word learning. Conversations that use positive, rich language will make a difference in promoting children's oral language and early literacy development. This strategy supports the research that children need to be actively engaged and connected with language to develop the skills, including oral language and vocabulary, necessary for reading. Dialogic reading. Current literature suggests teachers adopt a dialogic approach to reading aloud in the classroom. Dialogic reading was developed by Dr. Whitehurst and his colleagues in the 1980s as an interactive reading technique. This approach focuses on the conversations around the book. Teachers help children build important literacy skills such as prediction and comprehension as they talk about the book they are reading with the children. The following is an example of dialogic reading. The advantages of dialogic reading include that it is great with small groups of 4 to 5 children. Teachers are able to scaffold through the reading interaction, seeing where children are at and then moving each child to the next level. Dialogic reading encourages children to actively participate in the reading experience. It encourages turn-taking and is flexible to the children's needs. It encourages children to retell stories and share their interests. Conversations can be about the names, objects, and events in the book. It focuses on developing children's expressive language, and really importantly, it is fun. There are some disadvantages to dialogic reading. This includes that the children need to hear the book at least 3 times and as often as 5 to 6 times before the dialogical reading method can be applied. If the adult expands too much, the children lose what knowledge they have, so it is important for the adult to ask the questions that are at the child's level. It is important to make sure all children are participating and have opportunities to respond verbally. Teachers should ask questions in a way that all children stay involved and engaged in the answers. How can we assess oral language? The School Home Early Language and Literacy Battery, also known as the Shell Battery, is a collection of language and literacy tests given to children starting at the age of 5. Shell was designed to include traditional measures of emergent and early literacy skills, standardized tests like the Peabody Picture Vocabulary Test, the RAT Reading Test, and the Gray Oral Reading Test, as well as some other assessments of children's ability to produce oral language in a variety of genres. In my view, this collection of tests is useful in that they provide information from a number of teaching strategies that can help the teacher to see where each child is at and the areas that the child may need support with. A mixture of standardized testing and assessment tasks provide a good overview of the child's abilities. A disadvantage of these tests is to complete the task is quite a long time frame, where the children need breaks between each task. Vocabulary knowledge ability can be studied in a number of ways, including formats that test receptive and expressive vocabulary. Picture naming may be identified as a measure of expressive language. This is where children are presented with pictures of objects and are asked to name the pictures as quickly as possible. There are some aspects to this test that may relate to receptive language, such as the point to the picture activity, which one doesn't belong, and the definitional vocabulary with pictures activities. The score on picture naming is the number of cards that the child correctly identifies in a 1-minute time frame. The Peabody Picture Vocabulary Test version 4 was developed by Dunn & Dunn 2007 and is based on looking at pictures. It is suitable for non-readers and non-writers and takes about 15 to 20 minutes to reach the required level and provides a summary of children's receptive vocabulary. The test is very easy to use once the manual has been read carefully and the teacher has practiced the administration of the test beforehand. In my view, the test has been designed so that teachers can identify children who need further support and can refer children to other professionals, such as a speech pathologist or therapist. I like that it can be used on all children. There are many strategies and reading interventions available to early childhood teachers. It is important that teachers use evidence-based strategies that meet the needs of the individual children in their care. Early childhood teachers and parents of preschool children play an important role in supporting young children to develop oral language and vocabulary skills. Incorporating activities and conversations that are meaningful and engaging will enhance the literacy experiences of young children. Oral language and vocabulary development is essential for all children as these skills support children's reading ability and academic achievement. Thank you for your time today, and I hope that you have taken away some ideas to implement at home and in the classroom. Please find a list of my references at the end of these slides.